Okay. So, we talked about the Irish history / Chinese history / gangs in New York show that I mean, it's going to take a lot of research for me to do that. I've already got a bunch of research, but I do want it to be factual and as accurate as I can be. And I really want to give them some cool, strong, ancient Celtic names. And like I said, I also want to tell the story of women in that time. Turtle doves is one of my favorite Irish history for women. If you don't know what turtle doves are, sorry, it's a torrential downpour and here I am walking in it. Turtle doves were the people that dressed up like housekeepers, maids, nannies, and they would walk into these mansions that had massive amount of staff in and out all day, and they would rob you fucking blind while you were in your house. Nobody would even notice until they had already left and your things were gone. I think that is so badass. And the fact that if you wanted to know a little bit, like a visual, in the Gangs of New York, Cameron Diaz played a little bit on that history. She was a turtle dove. That's how he met her. Remember, she was a pickpocket, and she lifted up her shirt and showed him a bunch of necklaces, and she's like, I don't know which one is yours. Says, yeah, bitch, we robbing. And that's what they did, and women were badass about it. Probably some of the best pickpockets in New York are still of Irish lineage. That's how we survived as women. That's how we got our own pocket money. If you weren't married and you were poor in the areas of the 5 Points where most of the Irish and Italian culture were, that place was just shoved up with people. It was not a good time. It was very dirty, a lot of diseases. There wasn't much work for women. You could be a turtle dove. You could be basically an early prostitute, dancer, a barkeep, and those were only if you weren't married, you know, and a lot of women in that time weren't. Men weren't lining up to marry Irish women because they weren't worth anything. They didn't have any dowry. They were slaves, pretty much. The leftover remnants of a slave. So unless they married their own, they really didn't have much choice. And Irish women really, like, to be honest, I would put more interest on the women and telling their story, because the men fought the wars and the battles, but what you don't know about Irish gang history is, out of all of the cultures, the Irish women actually fought too. They didn't stay, not all of them. Of course, just like any other athlete, they only brought women out that could defend themselves, good with a sword, good with a gun, or whatever they were needing for the fight. They had to be skilled because they know it's going to be bad for women if the other men get them. So they really had to be skilled and advanced at what they were doing, but they were the only ones that really never objected to women stepping in the game and fighting for their turf too, which I love my people for. I also fought dudes. Speaking of that, I do want to touch base on this boxing shit. Look, at the end of the day, I don't know if that woman's a man or a woman, and I don't really care. I did fight men, but the difference was a man knew he was fighting a woman, and a woman knew she was fighting a man, and it wasn't pretense or falsified. And with that many chromosomes, I would really fucking take a hard look at what they're putting in their bodies. If she really is a female and she has that much testosterone, she's playing with the roids. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. If you take a steroid to fight, you're a fucking cheater, piece of shit, and you don't deserve to be where you're at. John Jones. I hate that guy. Anyway, how many times did he get caught cheating? Motherfucker. I don't like that. I don't like that. If you can't beef up enough on your own, then stay in the lane that you need to be in. Stay in the weight that's correct for you. Don't fucking try to cheat to get a new belt. Earn that fucking belt. I don't like anybody that... I think, honestly, I don't like to judge people by their looks. She could be a woman. I don't fucking know. And like the fact that people are discussing man or a woman or not, but if you are fighting other athletes and they're struggling to fight you and they're in belief that you are a man, I think they would know. I think they're used to people in their arena. They're used to fighting other people. I'm sure they fought other people with more of a range or a stronger blow, and it isn't about that. I think what they're getting upset about is exactly what I'm upset about. Women athletes are not taken seriously. We're barely played on TV unless it is the Olympics. Most men's sports are broadcasted on every network, and they make more money than us, and now you're going to have men coming in, taking a spot from a true female, which is already limited as it is, and as a female athlete, it's extremely hard to find a spot on any team in any sport, and now you're going to have men coming in and taking our spots. Oh, fuck no. We are not free. We don't get a say in our bodies, and we are not going to be okay with men coming on. Look, I was raised by drag queens. I support you wanting to be a woman. I do not support you playing in our sports. It is cheating. It is unfair. It is biased, and you're taking a spot from somebody who genuinely earned it. In sports, it does matter. There is a difference between a man and a woman. I don't care if you change the parts below. You still have more of a reach. You still have more force. You still have longer legs, and you're still taking a spot from somebody who, you know, I'm sorry, when it comes to sports, if you're born a female, you get first dibs. Maybe the alternative would be, instead of fighting about it, why don't you make transgender sports so that everybody knows what they're getting into and it's not unfair or biased or set up to be rumored, you know? The reason why so many people are talking shit is because there is clear and evident unfairness with that fighter. And first of all, I fought bigger dudes than that motherfucker. I am clearly out of shape, and I would still knock that egotistical piece of shit on their ass. This is the Olympics. This is not the MMA. This is not fucking UFC where you talk shit. You are in the Olympics. You are representing a country, and you have some goddamn respect and class. That is the Olympics. You do not talk shit in their karate matches and their boxing. That is not a part of the Olympics. That's UFC shit. So why don't you take your bitch ass to the UFC so Conor McGregor can knock you on your bully fucking mouth and show everybody that you are a man. That's how I feel about it. I just don't like that the narrative, the bulliness. You like to beat up women and be proud of that. I know a bunch of motherfuckers that I put on their ass for that same reason. Just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you're any less of a woman beating piece of shit. You enjoy it. You enjoy making a woman feel small, and that's my problem. The attitude. Fuck you. Sit down and have some goddamn respect. You're an embarrassment to your country right now, not because what you stand for, but because how you act. The Olympics is a totally different arena, and people have practiced and worked years for that. So I understand why that girl fell to her knees crying. She was ripped off. She was lied to, and I think a lot of us feel that same way. It's hard watching somebody who did it the right way be bullied in there by a man. Again, I don't know if she is a man, but, you know, it mostly came down to what she said. I lost all respect and support, and that's really sad because a lot of the transgender feel the same way I do. Like, your attitude sucks, and you're making us look like shit, and we're not like this. We want to be inclusive of everybody. We don't want to belittle other people. We don't want to take advantage of other people. You know, we want to be included, and this isn't how you do it. So I feel like that athlete should be reprimanded for their bully bitch-ass attitude in the Olympic arena. There should be a level of standard of respect, and if you can't meet it, you don't get to compete. Again, this is not just a regular competition. You beat out other athletes in your country to represent your home, and if I was from where you were, I would hold my head in shame. Point blank, period.